The rumors have been flowing ever since it was just announced that Nebraska has fired first-year defensive coordinator John Butler, and man, oh man, there is a lot going on behind the scenes. So in today's video, I'm going to give you a loaded update. Are more coaches getting fired soon, particularly with our offensive line coach, defensive line coach, potentially our offensive coordinator? We'll talk about it. All the rumors right now going on with both Jacory, Barney, and TJ Lateef, whether or not they're entering the transfer portal. We'll discuss that. John Butler's impact on recruiting. Are we going to have any decommits? Are we going to have any transfers? All the coaching news from these past couple hours, not one, not two, but three confirmed Nebraska transfer portal target, 2 stud running backs and 1 stud wide receiver, and then wrap up the video with all the bowl game rumors right now because there's a bunch there to talk about. So really quick, this is a loaded update. It's been a loaded day. Hit that like button if you're fired up. And folks, we're getting so close to 15,000 subscribers. If you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Listen, the content, it's going to heat up all throughout the month of December. We're just getting started with our defensive coordinator search, with the coaching carousel, with the recruiting news, with the transfer portal. If you want to stay in tune with the Huskers this offseason, it's no brainer. Take a second, join the family, hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. But without further ado, we have a lot to talk about. It was just announced that Nebraska has fired first-year defensive coordinator John Butler, and ever since then, the rumors have begun, particularly with who's next in this coaching staff: offensive line coach, defensive line coach, potentially our offensive coordinator. Let's start off with that, then we'll get to all the news from today, some players potentially entering the portal, and so much more. But starting off with whether or not more coaches will get fired in these next couple hours, in these next couple days, the first man we have to talk about is our defensive line coach, Terry Bradden, because there's been a lot of rumors about him over these past couple weeks. We know that Matt Earl, he has not been very happy with the defensive line. That was partially the reason why John Butler was fired today, because the defensive line was that unacceptable, particularly against Iowa, particularly against Penn State, that of course we cannot get to the quarterback, we cannot stop the run, we couldn't do really anything with this defensive line. It quite literally was the worst in the history of the program, and it was a big step back from last year, where last year it was pretty serviceable as top 20 America. We really only lost 3 players of notice: Jamari Butler, Ty Robinson, and Nash, and we lost our defensive line coach, and it went all the way from top 20 to quite literally the worst in America. So everybody's talking about whether or not Terry Bradden will leave next, if he's going to be fired today. Now, that was my expectation. I thought that both of these coaches would be fired together. I thought if John Butler were to go, it would be announced pretty much at the same time that Terry Bradden would be fired. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if it was announced later today, if it was announced tomorrow. However, I'll tell you right now, with the conversations that I've had over this past hour with people who are in that locker room, people who are with the program, they expect Terry Bradden to be retained by Nebraska for now. That's the key word, for now. What's going to happen, and the reason why they fired John Butler now, not after the bowl game, is because they want to find our new defensive coordinator as soon as possible. They want to get the search started as soon as possible, because if we were to wait till after the bowl game, we probably wouldn't get the best defensive coordinator on the market. But now, with allowing this to happen now, you can go outbid some schools for some top guys, you can go poach some guys, and what's going to happen is Matt Rhule's fully committed to finding the best defensive coordinator, and we're going to bring in that DC, and he's going to hire his own staff. So likely we're going to bring in a top dollar defensive coordinator, and he's going to sit down, Terry Bradden, and decide whether or not he's going to be a part of this coaching staff going forward. Now, that's not going to be the entire case with the entire defensive coaching staff. I can confirm that Rob Dvorak 100% will be back next year. We'll see on Addison Williams. Like, Addison Williams won't be fired, but he might leave to greener pastures. He's just going to get a lot of interest nationwide to be a secondary coach and potentially be a DC. But Terry Bradden's one of those guys where, again, I do believe to this day that he probably will not be with the staff next year. I can't speak in, confirms or ultimatums, because, again, this is college football. This is Nebraska football. Things are unpredictable, and you never know here. But I'll just say this. Like, if they fire John Butler after 1 year, there's no excuse for Terry Bradden. There's no excuse for anybody. You can change the room in 1 year. Mike Eckler did in 1 year. Addison Williams did in 1 year. John Butler got fired after 1 season as defensive coordinator. So there's no excuse for Terry. And this was the worst defensive line in the history of the program. So again, when it's all said and done, going into next season, like we're in January and February, I do not believe he'll be a part of the coaching staff. At least he won't be the full-on D-line coach, but that decision will likely be made by our new defensive coordinator. So again, we'll see. Again, I still wouldn't be shocked if maybe he was fired later today, tomorrow. I've seen crazier happen, but that's my expectation right now from everything that I've heard. Then talking about the rest of the coaching staff, some guys that potentially have some smoke around their names. Now, Dana Holgorsen, of course, we talked about this, before John Butler got fired. I would argue the offense played worse than the defense this year. Even when Dylan Raiola was healthy, we had no vertical passing attack. We completely changed our philosophies in October. We were full on air raid. Then we went to just completely riding Emmett Johnson. If it weren't for Emmett, we probably would have only won 3 games, right? Terrible red zone play calling, terrible third down percentage, this, that, and the third. The offense was awful. It was anemic. So I told you guys these past couple weeks, like, if they ended up making that tough decision with John Butler, they'd have a lot of questions around Dana. Like, how can you keep Dana and get rid of John? I get Dana's track record is definitely better, and his upside is definitely better as well, but still. However, I'm here to report, and I can tell you that I just told you I'm not going to speak in, confirmed 100%, but I'll confirm this, and I will tell you this for a fact. Dana Holgorsen will be here next year. he will be here. Guarantee that. So Dane Holgorsen will be our offense coordinator next year, unless something absolutely crazy happens. But again, he will be here. They're not going to fire him. Dana will be in Nebraska, Cornhusker. Then the last coach. What does this mean for Donovan Raiola? Because, of course, we reported on the channel, and this has been reported by a couple other inside reporters, people on message boards, people who are very notable inside the program, that, again, Matt Rhule not been happy with the offensive line. That's safe to say. Again, you could argue his relationship with Donovan Raiola has soured over these past couple months at Nebraska. The entire staff really has gotten more involved with this offensive line. But if Dana Holgorsen's going to stay, does that mean Donovan's gone? We also know that Dylan Raiola, that's still very much up in the air, where it still looks like he's likely going to leave. You never know, right? Matt Rhule wants Dylan to stay. And who says, if he wants more money, maybe Matt Rhule at the last second will conform to that. Again, it's all so unpredictable. So let's say Dylan wants to come back. Maybe he changes his mind. Maybe, even though we know Oregon's tampering, let's say Dylan comes back. Will Matt Rhule still get rid of Donovan? We'll see. So right now, it's very tough to say. I do believe, and I told you guys this earlier, Matt Rhule is very frustrated from this season. You think you're frustrated? Matt Rhule's more frustrated because he truly believed we were making the playoffs. He truly believed that. He didn't say it to the media, but he told the team that. He told the coaching staff that we would make the playoffs, and we weren't even close. And when you pinpoint a reason why we didn't make the playoffs, there's a million reasons, but the number one is because of the trenches. He knows our offensive line's not good enough. Matt Rhule made one tough decision today. He got rid of John Butler. I didn't think he was going to do it, but he did. So Matt Rhule had stones. And I do believe he has the stones to fire Downey too, which is the right call. It is the right call. So when will this happen? We'll see. Again, it's even more complicated given the fact that Dane is likely going to stay. But again, we will see there on Downey. But I do want to believe when it's all said and done, he will no longer be a part of the program. And I do think it'll probably be after the bowl game. Like, there's some incentive to waiting to after the bowl game for contractual reasons. You don't have to pay him as much in their buyout. So again, something that we'll definitely monitor over the next couple weeks. All right, let's get to all the rumors right now. Now, this was something that happened yesterday night, and I just want to give you guys an update. So, TJ Lateef, again, this is speculation season, right? When everybody's like overanalyzing everything, if a player puts out a cryptic tweet or this, that, and the third, everybody's locking in on what this roster could look like, what the coaching staff could look like. And I don't even want to report on this, but again, I've received so many questions about this. It's went viral on social media. I got to talk about it real quick. So TJ Lateef put on his Instagram story a picture of himself, ... and he had moving on by Rodway. People are like, oh, why does he have moving on? And it was also posted by Jacory Barney at quite literally the exact same time, a picture of him on the phone with also a song by Rodway saying leaving. So people, this went viral on social media. They're like, oh my gosh, this means Jacory Barney's gone, TJ Lateef's gone. Okay, I want to make this very clear. Number one, this means absolutely nothing because Jacory Barney did the exact same thing last offseason and he stayed. And I believe Jacory will stay this offseason. But I can't speak 100% for Jacory. I don't know for Jacory. But I can tell you right now when it comes to TJ, and I can guarantee TJ is staying. Can guarantee that. Just take my word for that. TJ Lateef is not leaving to the portal because he put something on his Instagram story. Okay? He's not somebody you have to be worried about. Now, Jacory, I don't know. I mean, Jacory's there's going to be some money tied to Jacory, sure. But I think both these guys are going to stay. Again, it's people are speculating on everything. I don't even want to bring it up, right? But the reason why I am bringing it up is to ease your concerns. Do not be concerned about this. Both those guys likely will stay. I can confirm TJ will stay. Don't know 100% of Jacory, but know for a fact TJ will be back. Then I want to talk about this real quick. What does his impact have on recruiting? Are we going to lose anybody because John Butler's no longer here? Now, we're not going to lose anybody in the class of 26 because we have 2 days of signing day. But are we going to lose Torrey Pittman? Are we going to lose potentially players to the portal? From the conversations I've had this even before John Butler was fired, I feel pretty confident we're not going to lose anybody. Okay, Torrey Pittman did not commit because of John Butler. He didn't, right? John Butler was not really somebody who really recruited much. I don't think we're going to lose anybody in the portal because of John Butler. We're going to lose some players in the portal. We're going to lose a lot of defensive players, not because of John, but because of other reasons, right? So I just don't think John Butler moves in the. I know we got a lot of questions about that, but we'll lose players regardless. Not because of John. We were just going to lose him to begin with. Okay, but it won't have any wish. It won't be like Tony White. Like when Tony White left, we had mass exodus. Okay, it's not going to be the case here with John because he was our only defense coordinator for 1 year. Then it was announced last night. This was kind of shocking that Kentucky has fired Mark Stoops. Now, also, there's a lot of people speculating Mark Stoops could potentially be our future defense coordinator. Don't really buy into that. But the reason why I bring this up, you never know. Dante Dowdle might return to Nebraska. Nebraska didn't want to lose him. They had some money on the table there, but we know that Kentucky tampered with them very late in the process. They lost some of their best running backs, and that's why he entered the portal kind of out of the blue. Like, nobody expected it. And Dante's transferred 3 times. What does it mean if he were transferred 4th time? It doesn't really mean much. Never know there. But I wouldn't mind if Dante would come back. We know that we're going to take 2 running backs in the portal. Not 1, but 2. And DANTE fit this offense, and he was productive. Is he a future first-round pick? No. Is he somebody who's going to completely replace Emmett Johnson's production? No. But he's a solid running back, man. He is. And he's somebody who's definitely a guy you feel comfortable getting 15 carries a game. So watch out for DANTE. There's already some speculation he might enter the portal. Again, Mark Stoops, I know some people are going to throw him out to be our future defense coordinator. We'll talk about tomorrow on the channel, our top candidates, but I do not expect him to be that guy. All right, a couple other guys who entered the portal over these past couple hours who I think Nebraska will be involved with. Again, we know that the portal doesn't technically open up until January, but as I've been telling you guys, like, people are going to enter now because they want to get their name out there as soon as possible to get the bidding war going. And Mekhi Frazier is very interesting. We played him this year. He's a stud. He's a stud. Very, very speed running back out of Michigan State. He had 500 yards, 2 touchdowns. He averaged about 5 yards a carry, and he has 2 years of eligibility remaining. And it should be noted that right after he entered the transfer portal, guess who followed him on Twitter? EJ Barthel. So again, trust me when I say that they are going to go crazy in the running back portal. They know that the running backs we have on the roster, I mean, they're decent, but they're not good enough to start. And we need some dudes here. We're going to take at least one, but I'm expecting 2. Another guy that I'm interested in who has not entered the portal yet, but he will, is Caleb Hawkins coming out of North Texas, one of the best running backs in America. You see that on your screen. Look at his stats. 6 yards to carry, over 1,200 yards, 23 touchdowns. He's a true freshman, 6'2", and he's speedy and he's big. He checks every box, and he's already being tampered with, and we already are kind of going after him in a way. Okay, and some big-time schools are. It's kind of like an Ahmad Hardy situation. Remember Ahmad Hardy last year from ULM who ended up going to Missouri, who we wanted? This is kind of him 2.0. So he's going to get some big-time offers, but I expect he will enter the portal in Nebraska. We'll be going after him. So just watch out for this name when it, in fact, happens. And then it was just announced that another Michigan State player has entered the portal. This is Nick Marsh, also played against him this year. This guy is going to be a heck of a ball player. He had 700 receiving yards this year, 6 touchdowns. He's only a sophomore, 2 years eligibility remaining. He is super speedy, 6'3", 200 pounds. We need him here. And I told you guys when we played Michigan State, Nick Marsh ain't going to be there for too long. Because when you have guys like him with his upside, with his first-round pick potential at Michigan State, really? So I told you guys when we played him, like, watch out for this name because he's going to enter the portal. And Nebraska's going to go after him because we offered him out of high school. We played him, so we know how good he truly is. And we go after these Big Ten guys constantly. So Nick Marsh will get interest, but I do expect Nebraska to get in the bidding war. He just entered the portal about an hour ago. And then last but not least, before we get out of here, want to talk about the bowl game speculation. I talked about before yesterday on the channel that right now it's all signs are pointing toward Nashville, that Nebraska is going to go play in the Music City Bowl, likely against LSU, likely maybe Vanderbilt if they opt out of the playoffs, they get snubbed. But there have been a lot of reports too that Las Vegas is still in the mix, that there's pretty much 2 outcomes for Nebraska right now. It's either Vegas, who has the pick ahead of Nashville, they pick Nebraska and will play Utah. Utah's pretty much guaranteed for that bowl game. Or there's significant rumors right now that if Las Vegas doesn't pick us, it'll be pretty much confirmed Nashville. In that game against Nashville, it'll be versus LSU and potentially Lane Kiffin if he coaches in that bowl game. You never know. So that's really what it's leading up to be. It's either going to be Vegas, Utah, or LSU and Nashville. It all depends on whether or not Vegas takes us, because Vegas really, it's kind of a 3-horse race. It's either they're going to pick us or Iowa or potentially Illinois. I think they'd rather pick Iowa over us if they had the choice, because Iowa is a better football team and they have pretty much just as good fans. I wouldn't say as good, but they have good fans. They're going to travel. But Illinois is interesting. Illinois is a better football team than us, but they're not going to get as good ratings because they're not going to bring as many people. And that kind of depends on Tampa. So who's Tampa going to pick? If Tampa picks Iowa, then you could reasonably infer that Las Vegas can pick Nebraska. So overall, I still think that we're going to go to Nashville because none of this is confirmed just yet. But again, Las Vegas still in the mix. We'll cover it because, again, a lot can change over these next couple of days. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. We forget last year, there was a lot of speculation around the Nashville Bowl, too, and we ended up going to Pinstripe last second. So I know there's a lot of speculation around Nashville again. You never know. You never know. You never know. All right, guys. Let me know your thoughts down below about everything. Been a busy day. We'll be back on the channel tomorrow morning going over talking about our defensive coordinators. So be there for that one. It's going to be a big one. All right, guys. Have a good day. Again, make sure to stay in tune with the latest. It's going to be a busy week on the channel. Go big, go roll, and I'll see you in the next one.